Howdy folks, I'm altruistic Allium, amiably approaching annoying animals.
I'm Amber.
And I just want to know one thing, Amber. How is a flower approaching animals? Do we have yet another flower with robotic legs?
Probably.
Alright, well there you have it folks. We have a flower invasion. You would think that spring would bring a lot of nice flowers, and you would be right, but they're robot flowers, like the Terminator from the future. Let's get started in this harrowing future. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, I unwittingly created a family with my next door neighbor. So, I actually posted the sequel to this one a couple days ago, so it was actually the Roses one, and basically what happened in the Roses one is that he got roses at his job, and his boss gave him a lot of harassment for it, right? Or said he was going to have to harass him for it.
Yeah, he's a mechanic, and his girlfriend randomly surprises him with roses, and he was over the moon about it.
Yeah. Now, I had originally thought that I had read this one a long time ago, but I was doing some searching through my archives. I was like, I was going to post this one, and it turned out that it wasn't actually the story that I thought it was, but I will now read this one so that you can all enjoy it. Let's get started. I am the OP. I was encouraged by a lot of DMs to post this story here, so here I am. Original, October 18th, 2022. 3 years ago, a woman named Casey, a 32-year-old female, and her son Kenny, a 13-year-old male, moved into the apartment next door. They had a few boxes, so I figured that I, a 31-year-old male, would offer to help them and get off to a good start. I noticed Kenny had a PS4, so I told him that I game as well, and that he was free to come over and play my system anytime that he wanted to, if his mother allowed it. I have a PS5, a Switch, and a PC, for an FYI. Since I'm a mechanic, I told Casey if she ever had any car trouble that she should come by anytime, since I help a lot of people on the floor with their cars as well. She accepted. I didn't really interact with either Kenny or Casey, besides a few hays for a few weeks initially. But a little more than a month after moving in, Casey knocked on my door and asked if I could check her car because the engine wasn't turning over. Turns out the spark plugs needed to be changed, which was easy enough to do. Casey was very thankful for my help and offered to pay, but I told her it was no problem. She invited me to dinner with her and Kenny, and I was hesitant to accept, but she insisted upon it. The next day, we had dinner, and it was a good time. I learned a lot about her and talked to Kenny more. He's a good kid, really into games, science, and his guitar. We even all went over to my place for some Mario Kart. From then on, I got really close to Kenny. I viewed him like a little brother. He came over to play my games almost every day, and I even started teaching him about cars. I've even brought him to my shop to introduce him to some tools. He's a quick study, and he even told Casey that he wants to be a mechanic like me. I told him to aim higher and become an engineer. He's now looking into engineering programs. I think that Casey really appreciated our relationship. She became a lot more friendly with me. I got COVID during the lockdown, and out of the kindness of her heart, she brought me groceries, cleaned my apartment, and even took care of me. I was totally grateful. She even cooks dinner for me every night, and we all have dinner together. She even makes our dinner for me when I work late and leaves it in my apartment. The other day, Kenny brought one of his friends over to his apartment, and I met the friend, and he said, "This is OP, he's like my dad." I'm not gonna lie, that took me by surprise. I always viewed Kenny like my little brother, but here he is saying that I'm like a dad to him. I asked Casey about this, and she seemed surprised that I even asked. She said that she would never force that role onto me, but he did view me as a father figure. He even hoped that me and Casey could get together so that we could become a real family. Casey then says that she wouldn't mind that either. I asked her if she was asking me out, and she just smiled and said yes. I was surprised, but I said okay. We had a dinner date this weekend, and I'm nervous, and I don't want to ruin things with Casey and Kenny. I really do love both of them, but I'm not sure how I feel about being the father figure for Kenny. It's a lot of responsibility, and I'm not entirely sure that I'm the guy for that. And Casey, she's really an amazing woman. I just hope that I can measure up to her expectations. In Just Asking Reddit, are my fears and worries unfounded? Should I put some boundaries between me and Kenny? How do I not mess things up with Casey? And here is the update. Update, October 28th, 2022. Hey all, thanks for all the nice comments on my first post. It's really weird being complimented so much, but I guess I like it, lol. Also, the update was originally posted in relationships advice, but they won't let me post there for whatever reason. People were demanding an update, so here I am. So here are some of the things to clarify before the update. People were asking me if I actually am attracted to Casey, and the answer is yes. She's one of the strongest, nicest, most considerate people that I know. She constantly puts people before herself, and I always wish that someone would put her first for once. And did I mention that Casey is super pretty? I guess I just never thought Casey would find me attractive or be interested in me in that way. Now for the update. I was nervous all week leading up to the date on Saturday. During our usual family dinners, Casey smiled a lot more at me. I don't think that Kenny noticed since he was too busy playing on his phone. Casey was not so subtly suggesting to Kenny that he should go and spend the weekend with his grandparents. He didn't really want to, but she pretty much pushed him out the door. On Saturday evening, I knocked on Casey's door, and she opened up wearing an absolutely beautiful dress. I broke the tension and asked if she was wearing that for me. She just laughed and we went on our way. The evening was a little awkward at first, but when we were walking to the restaurant, she grabbed my hand and smiled at me, and it sort of just got rid of the awkwardness. From there, the evening went amazingly. We talked, we laughed, and we had a great dinner. I asked her what made her change her mind about me, and she said that it was the previous Christmas. For reference, Casey is a hard-working single mom, and Kenny has all of his needs met and more. But she can't afford to get him the best, and it really hurts her that she can't. She really wanted to get him a PS5 since he was begging for one, but she couldn't justify the cost. Since I have a disposable income, I hunted for months, checking stock drops until I finally got one. Then I surprised Kenny with it on Christmas and told him it was from his mom. Casey was shocked and even started crying. Kenny was so excited that he didn't even notice her crying. All she could tell me was thank you repeatedly. Apparently that made her realize that she wanted me in both of their lives. She tried to deny her feelings, but it didn't work. The conversation the other day was the opening that she finally needed to confess how she felt. After dinner, we went back to her place for a nightcap. We talked a lot about relationship expectations and how we wanted to proceed. We agreed to be exclusive and take it slow and not tell Kenny about anything until we are sure that the relationship is real and strong. We didn't want to give him unrealistic expectations. She also said that her calling me his dad was too much too soon and she apologized for it. She said that it was wishful thinking on her part and probably would have weirded out most people. She said to accept any role with Kenny that I wanted, but she hoped that I would see Kenny as a son eventually. Sorry to disappoint everyone, but we didn't do the deed. We decided that it was too much too soon, and we did, however, have a buzzed makeout session. The following day, we went for brunch and decided to go apple picking. It felt good to be walking hand in hand with someone that you care about and talking a lot and pictures and doing silly things. At our family dinner yesterday, Casey sat close to me and was rubbing her foot on my leg. I don't think that I've ever been more turned on in my life. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I think that I'm falling for Casey and hard. Well, anyways, I think that's it. We're together now, and hopefully this lasts. I don't think that I want anyone else. Casey is everything one could want in a partner, and I just hope that I can be worthy of her. She's a really special person. Thanks, everyone. You're all so kind. All right, folks, what do you think of that prequel to the Roses story?
It's so wholesome. It makes the Roses story even better now to see they're still going strong.
Yeah. Well, and that's really nice. I mean, I think that this is one of those situations where we see a lot of bad in the world in a lot of these stories, but just remember, there are good people and good relationships out there. It's just people aren't complaining online to the Am I the Jerk subreddit about a good relationship.
Yeah.
Am I the jerk? I think that my wife is too perfect. But let me know what you folks think about this one. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Taking an Autistic Woman's Money at Her Insistence to Stay at My Place of Business? I own and operate a laundromat. It's not the most glamorous job, but it keeps the lights on and gas in the tank and should get my kids through college. One day, this young woman, she looked like she was in her mid-20s, came in. No dirty clothes, no laundry bag or anything. She just took a seat and pulled out her phone. Eventually, I went over to her and asked if everything was okay, if she was waiting for someone. I just wasn't sure why she was in the shop. She told me that she had ASD and that she found the sounds of my washing machines very soothing. She just came in to relax and get away from some distressing stuff. Fine by me. She stayed for a couple of hours, doing something on her phone, and I went back to work. When she got up to leave, though, she insisted on paying me. I tried to tell her that she didn't really need to pay me anything if she just wanted to sit in the chair and stick to herself. But she started getting agitated, and in the end, it was easier just to accept the $5 than to argue with her. Well, she's been coming back about once a week or so, every week for a few months, and she keeps handing me fivers before she leaves. I've tried to tell her that she really doesn't need to, but she keeps getting mad when I try to dissuade her, and eventually I've just given up. I've got a little pile of the things now, and earlier today, I was looking up some sort of support group for autism to donate the money to when my wife found me researching. The missus was furious, said that I was a scumbag and that I was a jerk for taking the money in the first place, and that the next time she came in that I should give all of it back, and that I can't let someone with a disability spend money on something that's free, even if she wants to. Maybe I should have fought harder over accepting the cash, but I also know that it's not what this young woman wants. Still, was I in the wrong for taking it? Am I the jerk here? All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. I mean, I understand while technically, she wasn't using the laundry services, she's still in the space and she wants to compensate him for that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, this is her choice. She's choosing to do this. She's an adult. I mean, she's clearly capable of living a life on her own, right? She isn't she's walking around using phones. It's not like OP is taking advantage of someone in this particular case, right?
Right. I mean, the wife is being ableist and infantilizing, acting like she can't make her own decisions when she very much can, and just because someone is autistic doesn't mean that they have, a concurrent intellectual disability, and even if they do, that doesn't necessarily mean they're incapable of living independently and making their own decisions.
Yeah, and it also might be a strategic point on her part, right? Because, if this turns into a monetary thing, then OP might be obligated or feel obligated to make sure that people leave her alone or whatnot if there are other people who come in, right?
Well, and he also won't kick her out.
Yeah.
She might be afraid that he's just going to get tired of her being in there if she doesn't pay.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a little bit of assurance that he's less likely to kick her out if she's compensating him for a service.
Yeah. And I think it's absolutely wholesome that OP is going to take all this money and just donate it to an autism support group.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that is a really nice thing. He doesn't have to do that. And I think that the wife should really see that and understand that he isn't doing this to take her money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, again, he isn't trying to take advantage of anyone. He's doing this at the request of this individual, right? And I guess in this particular case, he should graciously accept her $5 bills and donate them all in the end, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Irish Whiskey says, you're not the jerk. Yeah, that's patronizing. She's equating being neurodivergent with lacking capability to make your own decisions. Autism is not the same as an intellectual disability. And intellectual disability still doesn't mean you can't exchange money for services. Laundromats generally don't let people just hang out without doing laundry. She's clearly trying to compensate you for something that normally she would have been charged to do. Even if you don't want to charge her, she's paying likely 1, out of fairness, and 2, because she doesn't want to be treated like a child or a charity case and wants to pay her way. It may be coming from a place of good intentions, but it's literally discriminatory and one of the most frustrating situations people with disabilities face. I've known many people denied bank accounts, denied the ability to purchase things, and just treated like a child by well-intended, able people who just make life harder. If you feel bad, donate the money to disability advocacy and don't treat this grown woman like a child. I don't think I could have said that better. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber has a very special jovial Bob Stein joke, probably the funniest one I've ever heard. I haven't heard it yet.
Tom, I wish you'd sing solo. Laura, solo? Tom, so low I couldn't hear you. Ha ha. Laura, not funny. Have you heard yourself sing? You should sing tenor. Tom, tenor? Laura, 10 or 12 miles away.
Actually, that wasn't too bad. It might actually be the best jovial Bob Stein joke I've heard to date. And I have licorice spice. Jovial Bobstein, if you just wrote decent jokes, we wouldn't have to harass you about them. They're
Bri-
decent jokes. They're okay. They're passable.
Brian's the only one giving you a hard time, Jovial Bobstein.
I'm talking because I know Jovial Bobstein actually watches these
Yeah,
episodes.
really.
I have assurance that he is watching them. I send them all to his inbox, time stamped, with the joke section outlined. So I know I know you're watching Jovial Bobstein.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy terrific Tuesday, folks. I hope your Tuesday is terrific. And it's spelled TWO. That's even makes it even more terrific. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice. Terrific moral advice. And please have it wholesome.
To really help people, support them in the ways that they need and that they want.
I think that works for both of those stories. I think that works great. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!